Hey YouTube, it's your boy Danny from the Yugi Mayhem Bros. You already know who it is. Rudy's not here with me right now. He had to take off and do something, but that's okay because this deck he didn't really know too much about. In case you're wondering if you can't read the thumbnail, because I know my thumbnails are a little bit wonky sometimes. It's Dinomist. We have a Dinomist deck profile for you. And you might be thinking, what? Dinomist? Like, that's whack. It's actually not whack. It's pretty powerful. It has potentially good plays that you can do. And in the right hands of a smart player, this deck can trash on just about anything. It trashed on Gokis at my locals. It did pretty good against Gokis back when they were a thing, because I've had this deck for a while. Anyway, getting into the profile, I wanted to start off with what I believe to be one of the most important monsters of the deck. We're going to start with 3 Dinomist Rex. So, Dinomist Rex is a powerful card. He's a level 5 monster. And just a little tidbit of information about Dinomist. All their scales are 3 through 6. And they only summon level 5s and level 4s. Basically, because all the Dinomist monsters are level 5 through 4. Well, level 5 and level 4. Yeah. You get what I mean. So, let's read what this guy does. If this card attacks at the end of the damage step, you contribute one other Dinomist monster to activate one of the following effects. This card can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row, and if it does attack a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing damage. Or you can shuffle one card from your opponent's hand at random or their side of the field into the deck. This card gains 100 attack points. So it's a really good card. It's a really powerful card. It's one of the more sought after cards that you should go for. This deck is another good bit of information about this deck. It's very budget friendly. It can be competitive. The build that I went for was the most competitive build that I could get at the time being. We just got back from our locals and we had a pretty big haul. We had to trade away a lot of cards, and also I wanted to say to the gentleman that I promised the deck that I was gonna make, the DDD deck. It's coming. It's in the mail. Locals didn't have the Darkest Diablos deck. Hopefully you don't sell the cards before the cards get here for me. But by next week we should have a Darkest Diablos DDD deck uploaded and ready. Anyway, so getting back on track. Dinomist Rex is a good card. It's a level 5. It's a scale 6, I believe. Scale 6. And it's very powerful. It's got a 2400 body and 2200 booty. So then the next card that I believe to be more important as well is Dinomist Spinos. Dinomist Spinos has an interesting effect as well, where I contribute one other Dinomist monster to activate one of the following effects. I can make it so this card can attack directly, or I can make it so it can make a second attack. It has 2500 attack points. That's nothing to mess around with. It's level 5, it's scale 3, and I forgot to mention, all the Dinomist monsters share similar scale effects, where if another Dinomist card you control would be destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card in scale instead. So let me go back to Dinomist Rex real quick. And while this card is in your Pendulum Zone, you can negate the activation of a card that targets another Dinomist card you control, then destroy it. So they like to protect themselves. I'm going to get a little bit of water real quick. They like to protect themselves. They like to help each other. The Dinomist cards have always been a kind of family deck, I guess. Up next is one that was very hard to get. I remember pulling from Breakers of Shadows. I believe this card was short printed. We have what's his name? Dinomist Turan, and the P is silent. So when this card attacks a monster and destroys it by battle, you can add one Dinomist card from your deck to your hand. That's any Dinomist card that you want. There's a lot of cards you could add, a lot of potential game-changing cards. There's a lot of combos you can do with this guy. Excuse me. There's a lot of combos you can do with this guy. A lot of interesting things. Watch out for this card. It's 1800 beater, and then there's cards in this deck that raise the attack of water monsters and raise the attack of Dinomist monsters as well. And we'll get to those when we get to them. So up next we have Placios, Dinomist Placios, 3 of. And I don't know if you noticed that I'm running 3 of basically every Dinomist, except for 2. There's 2 that I'm running 2 of. And all face-up monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense. So with that, with Turan, you're going to get over something. You're going to beat over something, and you're going to get that add. So I play it at 3 because I want to see it, because I think it's a good card. It's a scale 6, and then it has the once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate the activation of a card effect that targets another Dinomist card you control, then destroy that card. Destroy this card. It's level 4, so like I was saying, you can go for a lot of level 4 and rank 5 plays. Rank 4 and rank 5 plays. Up next is Dinomist Ankylos. This card's interesting in its own way, I believe. If it's the card I'm thinking it is. Yes, banish monsters destroyed by battle by Dinomist monsters you control while this card's on the field. So that's a hell of an effect. Because nobody wants to get their cards banished preemptively unless you're playing something, I don't know. But its scale effect is once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate the activation of an effect that targets a monster and that you control and destroy it. So there's that. Up next we have Stegosaurus. I like to say that I do like Stegosaurus. Not just this card. I like Stegosaurus in real life. Well, as real as it can be, because nobody knows if dinosaurs are real. I'm not gonna get into it. No, like dinosaurs are real. Let's just end it at that. Dinosaurs are real. If your opponent's pendulum monster you control battles an opponent's monster after damage calculation, you can destroy those monsters. So this is pretty good. It's not the best, but it is a 1600 beater and an 1800 defender. And if another Dinomist cards you control would be destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead. So that's a pretty good effect, I'd say. Up next is the two ofs. These ones special summon themselves, and that was my thought process behind that. Is it's a pendulum deck, and you don't want to flood your field preemptively the wrong way or the wrong ways without pendulum summoning. These guys can just special summon themselves from hand, so you can pendulum summon and then special them from hand, or you can special them from hand and then pendulum summon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But anyway, I run 2 of these cards of Ceratops. And what Ceratops does is if all monsters you control are Dinomist monsters, minimum 1, and none are Dinomist Ceratops, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's why I wanted it at 2, because if you control a Ceratops, you can't special summon it. And then there's Brachion, who Brachion's effect is if you do not control a Dinomist Brachion in the monster zone, and your opponent controls a monster that has the highest attack on the field, even if it's tied, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's why I wanted to play that. So now it's up for the interesting techs. I play, and a lot of people, they might give me hate for this. If you give me hate, screw you, because I like playing stun decks. We're playing 2 barrier statues of the Torrent, and I cannot regret this card at all. I love it. It's really good. It's play it. You know, if I had a third, I think I would. No, that's wrong. I would play 2. Just keep it at 2. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. It's a good card. It makes it so neither players can special summon monsters other than water monsters. The whole deck is water, so get at your boy. And up next, I play 2 Kaijus. I play 2 Gamma Seals. Just picked these up today at locals. Shout out to Jerry Hine if you see this, my boy. Anyway, it's a kaiju. Everybody knows what kaijus do. You tribute your opponent's monster, and the best part about Gamma Seal is that it's a 2200 body. So your Rex is a 2400 body who can possibly gain 100. So it's not a bad idea to tribute over an opponent's monster. And your Spinos is also a 2500 body. So then up next are the spell cards. So I play 2 Pot of Desires. I wanted to try out Desires in this deck because I run 3 of everything and I'm not worried about banishing anything. This deck doesn't really worry about banishment. It's just more worried about like trying to flood the field, like I was saying. So 2 Pot of Desires is perfect for this deck. If you have Twin Twisters, play the Twin Twisters. If you have Cosmic Cyclones, play the Cosmic Cyclones. But I would definitely play these. I would definitely play these. Up next is an interesting tech card that not a lot of people know about. It's the Sea Lord's Amulet. So this card's interesting because it's like a Swords of Revealing Light for water cards. You send this card to the graveyard during your opponent's 3rd end phase after activation. Water monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So it protects them, and it's such a good card. It's such an interesting card. I had to put it in here. I had to tech it in. Try it out. If you don't like it, take it out, add more kaijus. I have where are they? I have Raijin on standby. I have different kaijus on standby. You could play an entire kaiju lineup, but I believe that card to be a good card. Up next is Dynamic Power Load. Interesting card. All monsters on the field, all Dinomist monsters in the field gain 300 attack and defense. And if a Dinomist monster you control battles an opponent's monster, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. So it essentially turns your Dinomist monsters into a Utopia of the Lightning. So that's powerful in its own right, in its own sense. Next up, I play 3 Dynamist Charge. This card's very good. It's a very versatile card. And so what this card does is it's your Stratos, it's your search. Well, it's your E-Call basically. It's your E-Call. So when this card is activated, you can add 1 Dynamist monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if a Dynamist card is added from your field to your extra deck, face up, add 1 of those cards to your hand. You can only activate the effective Dynamist charge once per turn. So this is a bottom line, a 3 of. You could play 2. You could get away with it. I wouldn't recommend it though. So play the 3, and yeah. So I would do that. And we run 5 traps. We run 3 of the Dinomist Howling. I wanted to try Dinomist Howling because of the effect where you can place. It's like your monkey board. You can place Dinomist into the scales, and let me read this real quick. Then you can't special summon anything except for Dinomist for the rest of the turn. You can't pendulum summon Dinomist except for the rest. You can't pendulum summon anything except for Dinomist for the rest of the turn. And then once per turn, if this card is already face up in your spell and trap card zone, you contribute 1 Dinomist monster to target 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So there's a lot of returning to the hand, a lot of stuff like that. And then up next is 2 Dinomist Charge. This lets you special summon a Dinomist monster from your deck, and if you do, it's unaffected by cards and effects, and then you destroy it during the end phase. You can only activate one Dinomist charge per turn, and it's a very good card. It makes it so that your Dinomists are just outright attacking your opponent. So this deck is good in its own sense. This deck is powerful, and get more water real quick. In case y'all haven't realized, the theme is water. So, up next is the extra deck, because we don't do side decks on this channel. I prefer not to do side decks because of how the meta changes. But we're gonna start off with one Totally Awesome, and you might be asking yourself, how do you summon Totally Awesome? And for those who don't know what Totally Awesome does, just saying, I don't know if you guys know or not. You contribute one frog monster to negate anything, and then set it on your side of the field. So get at Totally Awesome at Treat Toad. If you, the days of old, if you remember Treat Toad, hashtag Treat Toad. Like, comment, subscribe if you know Treat Toad. Up next, I play one Bahamut Shark. You detach material, and you can special summon a Water XZ from your deck, rank 3 or lower. And who do you summon? You summon Totally Awesome. So that's how you get him out. Up next, I play one Diamond Direwolf, because this deck isn't afraid to pop itself. It's not afraid to pop, lock it, drop it. Pop, lock it, drop it. It's not afraid to pop cards. It's not afraid to get at itself. Up next, I play one Abyss Dweller, which the boost from Abyss Dweller will save you. And then the negate of the graveyard effects will destroy your opponent. It just outright ends the duel for a lot of decks out there. So be careful with Abyss Dweller. It can destroy a lot of decks. It's very powerful. It's still, to this day, it's very powerful. Graveyard effects are very prevalent. Up next, we play the Utopia package. We play Lightning and Utopia, regular Utopia, Baby Utopia. Or actually, this isn't Baby Utopia. There is a Baby Utopia. This is Teenage Utopia. So we play that because of how powerful they are, how they can get over your opponent's cards. And then up next, I play two Cyber Dragon Novas, because they're all machines. You can go into Cyber Dragon Nova, and then from Cyber Dragon Nova, you can go into two Cyber Dragon Infinities. So you get the negate off, you get all of that off. Up next, I play one. The links are up to you how you want to play the links. The only two links that I recommend, that I highly recommend, are one Heavy Metalphos Electromite, and one Mr. Boy. I wouldn't play anything other than those, but you could play others. So like, I'm playing, for instance, because I want to keep it budget, I'm playing Space Administrator. You could play what's her name? Akashic Magician. The arrows point up and down. That's up to you. I'm playing Proxy Dragon. The arrows point left and right. And then I'm playing one clock, Underclock Taker. So there is that. And that's pretty much the profile, guys. We'll be doing a deck test video. I might do a test hand video with this, just to see how far it goes, to see what I can do. Get at me, like, comment, and subscribe. I forgot to say it in the beginning. Donate to the Patreon, even though the Patreon button is broken. I'm sorry. Follow us on Facebook. If you see this, we have a Facebook page. We're going to be making shirts and buttons pretty soon. And also, happy Halloween, guys. Dinosaurs are scary. Right, Mr. Pumpkin? Right, Julio Jr.? Dinosaurs are scary. I'm sorry I'm alone right now in the studio. It's just, I have a lot of work to do, and I keep this YouTube channel running, basically. Rudy doesn't have a means of recording yet. He's getting one. He's working on it. I'm pretty much the only one with the recorder and the microphone. and the table and the setup. I guess you could move the setup. Like, comment, and subscribe, like I was saying, and most importantly of all, catch me on turn 2, y'all. Happy Halloween.